anniversary of the Team Unity administration, and the meeting held during that period of our celebration to make a statement on the item statement by ministers. And Mr. Speaker, I want to focus on two areas. I want to focus on agriculture, which is one of the ministries which I lead, and on housing, which is under the Ministry of Human Settlement. Before doing so, though, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his thorough presentation of the achievements and deliverables of the Team Unity administration in 5 years. And I also want to congratulate my colleague minister and member for number 1 for his presentation this morning, but I want to add something to his presentation to indicate and to say thank you for the road at Half Moon Bay. Yes, Half Moon, leading up to the Koi Hotel. The Koi, yeah. Yes. So I just want to make sure that you know, and to reflect that. And I want to also assure you that the day will not end before I give you those other 2 or 3 in my constituency. Mr. Speaker, I want to try to be very brief because, you know, on this occasion you can speak for so long on so many issues. There are so many deliverables that really, if you have to speak on these deliverables, it will take you the entire day. But I want to just briefly list a few. On agriculture, for example, Mr. Speaker, we promised much and we delivered much. We know that the government before us had a high IMF debt, yes, and the economy was held back and our farmers weren't supported. That is the reality we met when we came to office. And since the election, Mr. Speaker, we have set about in agriculture to assist farmers in many ways. We have provided hurricane relief, for example, Mr. Speaker, in excess of $1.3 million to over 500 farmers. That happened, Mr. Speaker, after the 2017 hurricanes that caused significant loss and damage to some of our farmers in St. Kitts and Nevis. We went further, Mr. Speaker, when we provided $1.5 million in loans at low interest rate, 5% interest rate, to assist farmers in conducting their business. And even further, Mr. Speaker, we went when we provided $1 million in grant funds, $1 million through the Development Bank. $1 million in grant funds, Mr. Speaker, went on to help over 230 persons. 230 persons benefited from that particular program. So the farmers in this country have had significant contributions and were the beneficiaries of the government's program to help to rehabilitate those who had lost from the hurricanes, as well as to help those to grow and to develop their business. We have, Mr. Speaker, introduced a new farmers registration system where we cancelled the outstanding debts of those who were in arrears and had a new registration system and reduced the fees to be registered as farmers, because we wanted persons to recognize and understand, Mr. Speaker, that their contribution to overall economic development as farmers is significant. We have, Mr. Speaker, introduced the pesticide, and what we have been able to do, Mr. Speaker, with pesticide is that we had a system where chemicals were introduced on the farms and too much chemicals were introduced in producing our food. We were able to reduce, Mr. Speaker, from a high of 3.65 kilograms per hectare to down to 0.31 kilograms per hectare. What that does, Mr. Speaker, is ensure that we produce the best quality food that our stomachs should be able to consume so that we reduce the incidence of illnesses. We know, Mr. Speaker, that most of the things that happen to us start through our guts. And if we put in our bellies and our guts the kind of contaminated foods, then the result will be impacting our health as we continue to live, and maybe even shorten our lives. So I appreciate the fact, Mr. Speaker, that in this 5-year period, we were able to reduce the kilograms of pesticides from 3.65 kilograms per hectare down to 0.031. Not my words, Mr. Speaker. It is what the FAO has done through its observation reported in their annual reports. Without reducing production, yes. In fact, you know, Mr. Speaker, I should add, there's one farm in particular in St. Kitts that uses no chemicals at all. The Gideon Farms. You go to the Gideon Farms, and I encourage anybody in St. Kitts to go to the Gideon Farm. You go to the Gideon Farm and you see their operation. No pesticides at all. Strictly organic production of food on that particular farm. Mr. Speaker, in agriculture, the Economic and Social Development Program and Grant Assistance agreed in August 2019. We supported that program with $2 million US. We have also, Mr. Speaker, launched a real-time weather data collection platform. Why did we do that? We wanted to be able to predict the forecast what rainfall will come to St. Kitts and Nevis and in certain areas to help to mitigate against adverse conditions. We did that to be able to advise the farmers where to plant, when to plant, what crops to plant in certain areas. We, Mr. Speaker, did a classification of our soils so that in St. Kitts we informed on which crops is best suited for which areas in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And Mr. Speaker, last week I met with the farmers, those who produce animals and meat, and we agreed, Mr. Speaker, we were to launch the Betical Eradication Program, free program, all Betical and antibiotics free for the first 6 months, and looking at continuing for 6 months, another 6 months if necessary. It was to start on Monday, Mr. Speaker, but I have to report that because we had a vehicle delivered late, it certainly will start on Monday coming. All farmers throughout the country will benefit from the program of the government starting on Monday. We have made progress, Mr. Speaker, much progress, and we have a lot more to do. It is not the time, Mr. Speaker, I will say it is not the time to turn back the hands of time to go back to the labor, high IMF debt, and the economic mismanagement. We, Mr. Speaker, we must return not to the past, because the IMF debt left farmers in a lot of disarray, left farmers behind. Mr. Speaker, I said I will not take long. I want to turn to housing under the Ministry of Human Settlement. On this 5th anniversary, it is important to report that we promised bigger and better housing, and we delivered bigger and better housing. Under the previous administration, 1,200 acres of land was poofed away, and the disastrous decision of the government meant that we were going to lose 1,200 acres forever. And our homes during that period were smaller, some of them not even outfitted with bathrooms and toilets and cupboards. And so, since the election, Mr. Speaker, we have delivered. We have delivered over 3,000 housing solutions. The Prime Minister mentioned it in his presentation. The homes which we are building today are almost 100 square foot bigger than those which were produced under the previous administration. They have more spacious bedrooms. You know, I went in some of them before, Mr. Speaker. Only a bed could hold in there, not even a big bed, a small one. But today, you could put a king-size bed in those rooms and still find room for the dressing table and other things. That is the Team Unity housing program, Mr. Speaker. More spacious bedrooms, more spacious bathrooms, and high-quality finishes. Man, when I went in some of these houses, and I see the cupboards in the kitchen. Man, it's like in a king's palace. Seriously speaking, Mr. Speaker, have you been in any of them? I want to invite you, Mr. Speaker, to come to some of these houses with me, because the quality of the finishes in these houses is first class. I'm a little jealous myself. I have to see if I could upgrade my own house, because it's not in the same class. Mr. Speaker, truth be told, these houses are quality houses, fit for kings and queens. Mr. Speaker, what is even more is that we introduce a program approved by the cabinet where 2% interest is what you charge at NHC for those people who are getting those houses. Nowhere in the world that is happening, Mr. Speaker. And that is what we say when we say the government has delivered. Yeah. The government has delivered on the promises made to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Of course, Mr. Speaker, we introduced a program under the Hurricane Relief Program, which has supported over thousands. We know that it is many thousands. Thousands of persons with repair and renovation of their homes. I am old enough, Mr. Speaker, to recall living through 3 or 4 governments. A Labour government, then a PAM NRP government, and another Labour government. And this is only 5 years of a team unity government. And it is the first time in my lifetime that I have seen a government set about to restore the roofing material, the roofs of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that have been damaged by hurricanes. The first time. This is not any tarpaulin. This is no tarpaulin, Mr. Speaker. This is solid roofing materials across the country. That is a deliverable. That it ain't even PAM or PLP people getting it. It is everybody getting it, Mr. Speaker. Everybody, no matter who you are. That is what we say that the team unity government has come to do, deliver to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I want to encourage those people in my constituency in particular. Some of you might be waiting. You're close at hand. Be happy for those who have already got this done. And get ready because your time is near. That is what the team unity government has done for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have, Mr. Speaker, redeemed 400 acres of land that was put away under the previous administration. In Keyon, we have redeemed land so that people could own land in the future. In Lodge, we have redeemed land so that people could own land in the future. In Sandy Point, we have redeemed land so that people could have land. And in Conyers, Mr. Speaker, this government recognizes that the land was put away and is beyond the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we say it got to come back. And we have set about to redeem that land. And so far, 400 acres has been redeemed. Thanks, Mr. Speaker, to this Team Unity administration. Already, Mr. Speaker, over 500 persons have benefited from the first-time homeowners program. Over the past 5 years, we have assisted more than 500 persons. So the Development Bank has been a vehicle that has been a champion for the construction of homes for people, ordinary people in this federation, Mr. Speaker. And I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, we call the civil service program. The government put $30 million in that bank to ensure that public servants, some of them who were not getting any loans from the ordinary banks, could go there and get their homes, get money to build their homes. It is in an extraordinary performance by this government, delivering what the people of St. Kitts and Nevis elect us to deliver. There is no reason now for us to turn back the hands of time. This time we must go forward with a second term of the unity government. We have made progress. Yes, much progress. And we know that there's more to do. Yeah. And we will not turn back now because we are the ones who have shown that we can deliver to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we'll do that in our next term again. It is not time to turn back to that high IMF debt, a debt which strangled our country, which made civil servants couldn't get the increments. Yes. We can't go back there. No. We have to go forward with the Team Unity administration. A return to the past would mean that the people will not be achieving the dreams that they dreamed those hopes and aspirations that they look forward to under Team Unity administration will be gone if you go back. So now I call on the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and those in my constituency. Let's go forward ever in the Team Unity administration.